Hey, how you doing? I hope you're well. I'm Deanna and welcome to my channel. And today we have another ultimate book video. I am flying out to Brisbane in a couple of hours. It's currently like 10-ish. My flight's at 2 and I'm going up to Brisbane this weekend for the Dark Delights book signing. I think that's what it's called. One second. Yes, the Dark Delights book signing. This is its inaugural or first iteration, and it's a book signing which will feature a lot of indie authors. I believe it's got this whole like dark romance vibe to it. There on the VIP night, there's going to be masked men, kink demos, and Q&As along with the authors who are signing. So very excited. I love a book event, so happy to go up. Also, this one is extra special because I'll be helping out author Lucifer. I'm very excited for that, which is very fitting for, trust me, I know what I'm doing. Let me grab the book. I swear to God, I haven't been filming in a while because life has been a little bit hectic, especially the last few weeks. I was going for a job interview for a job that I really wanted and was just mentally preparing for that, and my brain wouldn't switch off. So I did the interview this week, found out yesterday that I did get the job. So I will be having some celebratory drinks once I get to Brisbane, but I'm a little all over the place. But anyway, the book that I am currently reading is The Final Tour by Lucifer. This is the third book in her Rockstar Romance series, which features Abandoned Bygone. The real kind of titular characters, focal characters of this story is Brax and Charlie. Brax is the lead singer and Charlie is a photographer for the studio, but interspersed throughout we do get perspectives from the other boys in the band and we see their romances blossom as well. So this is the third book, so I'm not gonna tell you much about it, but it is an Australian band full of lots of Australian banter and slang, which I personally love. Like, these characters feel like boys and people I went to uni with, I went to school with. Like, I know these people. We're going on a tour around Australia, so I've been promised that we go to the Forum in Melbourne, so very excited for that. So I'm going to take this on the plane. I also have my Kindle copy just in case. Where I'm at now is that I'm going to finish packing and I'm looking at my suitcase. Now, for context, I'm flying up today, which is Friday the 19th, and I fly back Sunday. Tell me why. Ain't nothing. No, tell me why I have a suitcase which has like maybe 6 outfits and 3 pairs of shoes, which for context, I wear my docs all day, every day. So I have overpacked, but I guess I just like options. And we're going to Brisbane, so I'm assuming it's going to be a lot warmer than what I'm used to. Although I did check the weather yesterday and it's supposed to be raining on Saturday, so thank you for that. Fully aware that I'm rambling now, so I'm just about to finish packing. So I've got my wonderful pink suitcase, which I bought because I needed a bigger suitcase, and now I've filled said suitcase. And so I've just got to put my camera stuff in there. That's good to go. I have a backpack for carry-on. Hopefully that meets the 7-kilo limit. I'll see if I can shove anything in the suitcase. And then we're good to go. I've got to go to the post office and then we're off to the airport. I've decided to drive to the airport and park because Uber there and back is like 80 bucks each. I did leave the parking a little bit late. It would have been cheaper if I bought it 2 weeks ago, but parking is like 100 bucks. So I'm still winning. But yeah, so like with all, I should have said, my ultimate book videos, I'm going to bring you along to my bookish weekend. I don't have too much planned to buy. I've only pre-ordered 2 books, which I know, who is she? But Rare is coming up in 2 weeks and I've definitely pre-ordered more than that. We will do some vlogging part. I am very excited because tonight we are catching up with a group of authors and vloggers, so very excited to see these people and meet them in the flesh. That sounds gross. Meet them in person and or see them again. So yeah, I'm gonna finish packing. I'm probably gonna wait to have coffee until I hit the airport, and I'm gonna get to the airport aggressively early because, well, I don't know what the traffic's gonna be like to the airport, and I'd much rather just sit and hang around for like an extra hour than be worried I'm late. So we'll do the stuff and things I need to do to head off, and then yeah, the first thing I'll do is check in my bag when I get to the airport and then get a coffee. All right, I will speak to you soon, probably at the hotel, which I'm very excited about. Bye. Hello, I am here in Brisbane, made it safe and sound despite the massive delay with Virgin Australia. I'm not sure what was going on. We boarded like 20 minutes late and then we just sat on the tarmac for what felt like forever. There was apparently some like strong wind warning. Anyway, made it here. I was going to do this before I went out for dinner and drinks with a bunch of wonderful authors and book bloggers and all that jazz. But I figured better late than never. Sorry for my curls, they're looking a little crazy. The humidity in Brisbane is real, and I forgot about that until I got off the plane. So overall, sorry, you were coming off the tripod. So overall, the plane ride was successful. I didn't get to read the final tour like I wanted to because my dumbass forgot to download it on my Kindle, and I was worried about my on-plane luggage being more than 7 kilos and them charging me, so I put the actual physical book in my bag. But I did read another book, which I'll tell you about once we sit down. But let's have a look at the hotel room. It's very nice. I'm staying at the Ridges, and I'll spin you around and we'll go from there. Did it take my dumbass an alarming amount of time to realize I had to put the card in here for, you know, lights to turn on? So we have a nice little desk and I guess kitchenette area. I did buy myself a Daniel's donut, which I'll probably eat right now, and some lunch for the plane. We have a coffee machine, which is nice. The bathroom. I'm actually obsessed with this bathroom, and if this could be my bathroom at home, I would be so happy. There you are. Hello. Beautiful. And then just TV, footy finals, so it's been playing all night. And yeah, it's just nice, and I really like it. We're situated on the bed, which is so bouncy. I'm kind of obsessed with it. We're here for Dark Delights. I think this was put on by the Bookish Spice. I'm pretty sure. I'll leave them linked below. So I was really good and I only put on 2 pre-orders. Lucy has gifted me a special edition of her What Happens on Tour series, which I'll get tomorrow as well, which is fantastic. I will get her to sign. I smacked myself in the face with the book, but I'll get her to sign the final tour. I've made it about 5 chapters in. I'll probably read some more tonight. I mentioned in the previous clip we're following Abandoned Bygone, who is a Oz hip-hop group. This is the 3rd book in the series, so we've seen their development since their first album was released, which I love. And I was even talking about this to Lucy earlier. What I love about this series, and I am a massive fan of Rockstar Romance because music's always been a big thing in my life, and I've studied music, I've did all that jazz. So when books include music, I really love it. And when Rockstar Romances don't include music, or just like those mundane things, like not even just touring, although if you give me a band on tour and you don't show me any of the like show scenes, even just one, I'll be very upset. But just seeing little things like at this point in time, Brax and Abandoned Bygone aren't on tour because this is kind of spoilers, but the band is starting to, you know, settle down, have kids, and enjoy that part of life. So they're not necessarily touring full time. They're in that kind of wrap up from one album going to the next. There is pressures from the label about deadlines for albums and touring. Obviously, tour is in the title, so they will go on tour. But I love that even when we're getting these like slice of life family moments, we do see touring. Like Brax is the main writer and lyricist of the band, so you know Charlie is constantly moving papers of lyrics and stuff like that. They do have a studio in the bottom of their house, but even little things like, you know, he had to listen to demos to see who he could get as a collab for the upcoming album. Like just little things like that that really show that music, and this is their career. This isn't a career that many people can just like walk into, getting signed with a label and being able to release albums and tour. So I like it when my Rockstar Romances include that, and I get very upset when it doesn't. But Lucy just does it beautifully, I feel, and it's there even while we're taking a break from touring and we're getting moments of their life. And we're really at the point with Charlie and Brax in particular that they're having to come back to work after maternity and paternity leave and just struggling with those like regular things of being a new parent, but also having those expectations of the world on you. So I will definitely continue with this. This is like such a beautiful book. Like look at those chapter headers. Are you freaking kidding me? And if it's like a chapter that finishes not on the page, that if it's like this and the chapter finishes here and this is like the fancy cover page, like are you freaking kidding me? We do get like a full wrap which matches the chapter headers. Like that's amazing, and I love these books. This series is one of my favorites, and I just love being back in this world. I'm slacking admittedly, so I will hopefully get this bulk of this finished this weekend, and then I can write a review and move on to the most recent book, which is fan favorite. I know that this is like a 7 or 8 book series, and the 4th book is a novella. Lucy doesn't really write a short book. This is like 500 pages, but we're getting a feature of the new band, which is Jaden, and that'll spin off to the rest of the series. So we'll kind of have a band of bygone and then Jaden's act. I mentioned I've only put on 1 pre-order, which was for, names are hard. Jane Washington. I don't know why I didn't think of that. I did pre-order books 5 and 6 in her Ironside Academy, which I read earlier. I think it might have been June or July. I'm behind on my wrap-ups. Future planning. Next Friday is grand final public holiday for Melbourne. I'm aware that like leading up into Christmas, the last 2 public holidays Melbourne gets is a grand final day sports event for AFL. That's like our football league. The game's on Saturday, but we get the Friday off so we can go view the parade. But I'm just gonna bulk film. I think I've planned like 6 or 7 videos to film, and one of them will be the June and July wrap up, and then one will be August. So in July, I'm pretty sure it was, I binge read the Ironside Academy series, which is an Omegaverse. It's kind of like if Omegaverse met the Bonza Tai series and then set it at Dance Academy. That's the book baby for that one. But I read the first 3 like back to back, and then I pre-ordered signed editions from Jane, who's an absolute sweetheart, and I got them with the old covers. She has since changed the covers, but I do love the new covers. So I'm undecided if I'm gonna buy the first 4 books with the new covers. She is gonna be at Rare. That's the only pre-order I put on. Did I put it on really late in the game? Yeah, I think I've got like 3 kilos worth of luggage if anything was to go by the tag that the airport made me put in my bag, which says heavy. So I did pack a little, but I could probably put some stuff in my carry-on. I brought a backpack. So I've got those 2 books, and then there are a bunch of other authors going. Obviously I'll get a book from Lucy as well. I'm just gonna shop, see what sparks joy. EP Barley is also gonna be here, so I might buy something from her. I have pre-ordered the last Her Vicious Beast book, but I've pre-ordered that for Rare, so that's happening in 2 weeks. So we'll see what happens. I'll come back and let you know what I've bought. I've got a general admission ticket. I'm gonna go downstairs and meet the girls for breakfast at 7, but then I don't think I have to go across until 9. That's when general admission is. I'm excited for it. I will say, because my dumbass didn't download the Kindle and I put this in my suitcase because I was worried they were gonna charge me a ridiculous amount. Random story time. When I went to Jetstar for a romantic affair, they weighed my carry-on. So now I just buy checked luggage. Because I know I'm going for these events at the moment for books, and I'd rather just pay in advance luggage and not need it than be charged an arm and a leg at an airport because I've gone over. So what I did read on the plane, so I was a bit stressed because I drove in and all was going well until my GPS told me to turn into a car park that said for car rentals. And then I was like, I paid for parking, do I just scan it? And then I was like freaking out. We'll say Melbourne Airport is doing mass amounts of construction work, so nothing makes sense. I was so lost going through the airport trying to find the terminals. I was like, luckily I did leave at like 11:45 for a 2 p.m. flight because I was so lost. So I was like, well, it says car rental. So I reversed out and then was trying to follow my GPS. I was like, I'll just circle back around. Next minute, I missed the turn off. Well, I didn't miss the turn off. They said turn here and make a U-turn, but because of all the construction, that road wasn't an option. So I just end up on a freeway going out to Sunbury, leaving the airport. And I was like, fuck, where is this gonna like take me? Where am I gonna be able to turn? And my GPS is like, la, 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 la. It was telling me that there was a roundabout, and I was like, there better be a roundabout. So anyway, sure enough, I was able to get to the roundabout, parked. I then like vaped like a chain smoker in my car for a little bit and then got lost in the airport because of all the construction. And then I don't know what was happening with the construction. It was so windy driving there that I thought my little Toyota Yaris was gonna like fly off the Tullamarine freeway or whatever weird way my GPS said it was. And then even in the airport, as I'm like walking, I've checked in, just trying to figure out where to go to domestic because everything's labeled for international arrivals, which I guess is important, but I was like, I'm just going to Brisbane. Not just going to Brisbane, I'm going to Brisbane, I'm going domestic, I need to figure out where I'm going. So I knew what it was supposed to look like, but was just walking around for like 10 minutes and then finally got there. I bought myself a nice coffee, like a frappe, and then I got myself a really nice chicken pasta salad from Soul Origin for those who are in Australia. It's fantastic. And I treated myself to a Daniel's donut, which I'm probably gonna eat very shortly. It's coffee mousse donut with like chocolate. Yum. So once I finally got seated, I was having a massive headache, probably because of the stress, probably because I haven't drunk much water. So I could have read on my phone. I don't know why I need to show you. I could have read on my phone through there, but I just wanted something that was, I didn't want to look at the phone screen, which is ironic because I played this little game on my phone for like an hour or more. So that didn't really help. But anyway, I decided to pick up an audiobook. I was having a headache. I wanted a bit of a comfort read. So I picked up The Scent of Us Part 2 by Ileana Lee. Will say there was about 3 or 4 screaming, crying babies. So listening to an Omega heat scene, it possibly wasn't the ambiance for reading that, but I am having a fun time re-listening to it. I think I got like an hour or 2 into the rereads. Ileana Lee is an Australian, Melbourne-based, in fact, you know, repping the home team. Author who writes Omegaverse Why Choose, which I love. They are set in Melbourne and we're following Juno, who was bonded against her will. Her family essentially sold her to mate or bond with this very dangerous pack in Sydney. They are into organised crime. I know they sell drugs and things like that. They're very high up in this underworld organisation. So what happens is she was essentially taken against. Before I tell you more about this, I am absolutely paranoid that someone's going to come through this door, because when I rocked up to my very nice hotel room, there's a glass of wine at the bottom of my door, and I don't know if I should grab a picture of it. Anyway, so I'm on the 2nd floor with the pool and the gym, and I'm at the end of this hallway, and the pool is like literally maybe 4 doors down, if that. But there was this wine glass right outside my door. So I'm like looking at the little card they give you, and I'm like, it says 234, this says 234, like why is there a wine glass? And then I was like, I'm just gonna try the card. And because I didn't book through the hotel, I booked through booking.com, which is like a third party. And then so I was like, I'm just gonna open the door. And then I get in and the TV is playing and it looks like someone's in the bathroom, and I was like, hello? And then I'm like knocking on the bathroom door. It does appear to be that this is my hotel room, which I paid for, and no one's coming in. But just before, it sounded like someone was trying to get in. And I think the door is right next to the next door, but I'm now worried that I'm now squatting in someone else's hotel room. I'm sure once I finish this clip, I will check the hotel key again. Anyway, so she was bonded against her will, and there has been this very revolutionary new study. It's like a trial study which will allow people to dissolve their bonds. So she manages to break out from this dangerous pack and get herself into these experimental trials and breaks the bond. She is now finally able to be herself outside of her designation and live her life. She's an artist. She is Asian Australian. There's a lot of diversity in terms of the characters, which I love. Ileana Lee herself is an Asian Australian, so I love when we get something that's not just the same old in romances. And my camera is dying. 1 second while I change my battery. I'm gonna talk quick because I have 3 batteries and I had charged one and I don't know where it is. So she goes through these trials. She's living her best life in Melbourne. She's now got herself a bunch of tattoos. She's changed her image and she's working towards being a graphic designer by trade. And she ends up meeting a bunch of her scent matches. One of them at the Loom in Melbourne, and then one of them is her professor in her elective class in advertising. And it's really about Juno trying to reconcile the fact that not every alpha is going to abuse you, and not every alpha is going to expect a particular thing from you, and you're able to find a pack who loves you and that you're entitled to that. It's about them getting together. So there has been some tension stuff happening because of what's happening with her old pack and the trials. I'm playing Russian roulette with my camera at the moment in terms of batteries, but I finally found the battery that is fully charged and I'm charging the other ones just behind me. So I think what I was saying was that there is some right-wing pro-alpha groups who have used Pak Xiao to promote the fact that Omega's giving them the choice to be able to dissolve bonds, and going against biology is, you know, not what God intended and is not right, which, you know, does hit hard given the current political climate. For those who say that reading isn't political, I would say you are absolutely wrong. Reading has been political since the inception of reading, when it was limited to nobles and the church. So the fact that I can read this very smutty poly Why Choose Omegaverse and still get hit with the themes of Omegas who are typically female and also are considered feminine and aren't seen as anything more than baby makers and the fights that Juno has to have to claim her autonomy and to be seen as a person outside of her designation does hit home with what's going on. So I really enjoy that nuance. Obviously we do get a lot of spicy stuff as well. We've had a heat scene. There is sword crossing in this Why Choose, which I personally love. I do love a moment where everybody's loving everybody. I'm really enjoying that. I think from now I'm going to go and have a shower, cool down, and then I'm also going to eat this donut. So I mentioned Daniel's Donut. I don't know if they're just a Melbourne thing, but I bought this at Melbourne Airport. So I got the mocha one, so it has like coffee mousse cream and like chocolate sauce, and the donut itself is like super fluffy. So that is my thoughts and feelings. I should say before I move on to the donut, I really enjoy being back in the Scent of Us world. I feel like I consumed it so quickly the last time that I am now getting the chance to like explore and just read into all the nuances. Yeah, we'll be going to shower and then dig into this one and probably pass out because I've had a couple of margaritas in celebration of my promotion. I think that's it for me. I will take you with me tomorrow to show you the event. This is the first time the organizers have put this event on, so I'm hoping it's going to be really good. There's always obviously some hiccups with first time events, but I'm gonna, you know, maybe put on my Amanda from Swell Entertainment hat on and give you a review of this event, and I'll show you what I bought. I will speak to you in the morning. Bye! Good morning. I am getting ready to head out to Dark Delights. I think doors open at 9, so I'm gonna finish my coffee, put my shoes on and toddle over. I didn't get much read last night because I promptly passed out, but still I'm enjoying where I'm up to with the final tour. This morning went down, had breakfast with Lucy and a couple of the other girls. Sienna Gypsy, I think. I'll leave the author link down below. And then CB Frey and Jade May. Again, leave those authors down below. And then Mel and Abby, who are book bloggers. So again, we'll leave them down below. So it was wonderful to have brekkie with them. Actually found myself a really good cup of coffee, which I do live up to the Melbourne stereotype of coffee snobs, so very, very excited. This bed is like a cloud and there's just pillows everywhere. I'm feeling like I'm living my Omega dreams. It's just a ridiculous amount of pillows. So yeah, I've got my bag packed, brought a couple of tote bags. I think there's only a couple of books I'm wanting to get. I will also take my copy of Final Tour so Lucy can sign it. And CommBank is currently having an issue where it's not working, so I can't transfer money out of my savings account, which is kind of stressing me out. It did seem to say it was like a scheduled maintenance, so should be up and running in like half an hour or something. That should be fine for the rest of it, because otherwise it's going to be a look, don't touch. I think I've got $60 in my like card account, but that's fine. We'll make it work. So the signing goes from like 9 till 4. I'm a little confused because, I mean, admittedly, I haven't really looked at the ticketing options. There was like the base ticket, which was the daytime signing only. That was from 10 till 4 and you get entry into the signing hall. There's 100 authors. Then there was the VIP signing only. So, oh no, then there's the nighttime event only ticket, which is from 6 till 10. And that includes drinks, performances. I think there's like potentially some BDSM workshops, a spooky walkthrough maze, masked men floating around. And then third base is the all day ticket, the nighttime ticket, and general entry. And then there's the VIP, which is from 9 o'clock. Look, my ticket does say 9 o'clock on it, but then it says general admission. So I don't know what the fuck my ticket is. I'm just gonna make my way down there. It's about 8:35 now, so I will finish up my coffee and then just do a bit of tidy up, put clothes away in the suitcase and that kind of stuff before I head off. So yeah, it should be a fun time. People already started to post. So the general schedule is there's VIP from 9, 10 general admission. The hall closes for an hour at 12:30 for author lunch. Then we're back at 1:30 for signing until 4. And then the nighttime event begins at 6. So yeah, we will see. I will try and get some footage of the signing hall and the night, and then we'll come back at the end and I will show you what I have bought. Okay, I will speak to you soon. Bye! It is the day after Dark Delights, and I think I took a bit more B-roll than I did at Babe, that's for sure. I slept like crap. My hotel room is like 3 floors up from this bar, and it was just popping off last night. They had like some kind of Hispanic band playing. Everyone was having a riot. It was so loud, and I really loved the soft cushions, except now I have seemed to have thrown my shoulder out because I am old, apparently. Anyway, I am flying out today. It's 8 a.m. My flight is at 1:20, I think, and the other girls, Abby and Mel, who are also from Melbourne, are flying out at around 3-ish. So I think Lucy said she was going to come back at around 9. She lives local. She was going to pick us up, show us a location that was relevant to her, what happens on tour series, and then drop us off the airport around 11:30. So I'll probably grab some food there. My throat is fucked. So yeah, we'll see. Anyway, let me show you the books. So first things first, I met the wonderful Jane Washington. Jane Washington was the only author I put a pre-order on because I binge read her Ironside Academy series and I was just missing the last 2. I've now got the rest of them in the new covers. It was pretty funny because she'd also, well, not funny, haha, but she was a bit stressed because some of her pre-orders, the books were waterlogged. Luckily, the 2 I bought weren't, but she did offer me a waterlogged book, which, you know, gives chaotic energy and very much on brand for Jane Washington. I didn't realize it was one of the books that I already had bought, but I will keep it because it's personally signed. They all are. So I got Glacier and Elance. I can't speak French. And this is, yeah, books 5 and 6 in the Ironside Academy, following a world where where people with special abilities also have designations. So this kind of takes Omegaverse to the next level because we've got alphas, betas, deltas, omegas, and sigmas. And Isabel is a sigma, who is considered the lowliest of this kind of X-Men Magic People Society because they only have one shared ability, and that is they're basically super empaths. They can take feelings away from people, but people don't use it. We also got some swaggy stuff, but the Sigmas don't use it because it actually can be quite harmful to the individual, and obviously the wider public doesn't know that. So a cookie, very cute. So she is forced into going to Ironside because her father, he's an alpha and won his year, and there basically is like reality TV show meets dance academy meets like the fucking Hunger Games. Well, not really the Hunger Games, but it is ruthless. These gifted people live in reservations where resourcing and things like that, access is limited. So the idea is that if you win to be your top idol of your year level, because it's also like at a school, you can then lift your family from that poverty. So very interesting, very wild, and it is the biggest Wide Shoes I've read with Miss Girly Pop, Isabel, and 10 alphas. Will say the first 2 books I was like, oh my god, that's a lot of names. I don't know who is who, but you definitely get it towards the end. I then popped over and saw Miss Lucy. She had the cutest thing. The woman is insane in the best way, and she had saved me a copy of this special edition that Brightside Candles, a US company, had done of what happens on tour, and like it is insane. So what happens on tour, which you heard me talk about, is, you know, follows the Aussie hip hop band and Bygone, and what Lucy does that I guess other authors don't necessarily do. It really does follow the whole band, but their stories are kind of interconnected and their point of views. Like the first 2 books really does focus on Brax and Charlie as they get their shit together, moving from friends to lovers, and then dealing with Charlie's past trauma. And then each book we kind of get more of the characters, especially in International Tour. We kind of get a bit more of Chester and his romance. And Lucy did tell me this book focuses on Shane. Where is Brax's point of view? There we go. So absolutely stunning, and excited to have that. She also threw in this amazing tour pass, and I got Charlie's one, which is so cool. They've been like laser printed. We have a music note bookmark, and she always chucks in like music keyring, and then I've got this new occulty keyring because I also did get my hands on a copy of Infernal Passions, which is a paranormal romance which looks at Lilith, and it's set in this urban fantasy world. It is a different type of release for Lucy, but I loved it. We've got Adam, who very much gives like smarmy, slimy billionaire meets politician, who is pushing this agenda that Lilith was evil and corrupt, and Lilith has finally had enough as she sees how his influence has sparked and is spreading over this world and the different realms, that she decides to step up and tell her story and disprove some of the lies he's been spilling. She also has a love interest, a second chance romance with Lucian Morningstar, who was one of the angels who was there when she was in the garden, and he didn't say anything. I guess from his point of view, he didn't want to step on her toes because she was making this very grand, defiant gesture that she would not be at the whims of man and that she was her own person, had her own thoughts and feelings. So he didn't say anything in defense of her because he was kind of like, I'm trying to respect her wishes, but I guess he does too little too late, and it's a while later, I can't remember, it's not that long, but he falls and he becomes like a fallen angel and now runs a sex club, and Lilith needs his help. It was beautiful. As I said, I did beta read this project, so I can't remember if I showed you that, which was such a fun, we've got the same model. It was such a fun experience, and yeah, it gave me similar vibes of like being back at school, back at uni, and doing like workshopping stuff. So it was very, very cool, and some of the messaging was very poignant with some of the concerns that are happening with women's rights and people's rights. So yes, very lucky to have that, and that book did really well yesterday. She ran out of all the model covers because the model on here, Emma, is just beautiful. I'll leave her Instagram link below. And she's an Australian model, which I know makes Lucy happy because she likes to support all types of Australian creators. I did try and limit myself as much as possible, and I actually think I did a pretty good job. What have I got here? I got to see an author and a bookstagrammer who I've been friends with for a while, and I got to see her in person, and that was K.E. Barden. So of course I gave her a big hug, and I wanted to pick up her first book, which is a YA retelling of fairy tales, but in particular she uses the dark fairy tales. So this is Gilded Mirror, and it says, once upon a time makes Grimm's dark fairy tales in this tale about vengeance, curses, and love. Eveline Raffia has a gift. Not only can she hit every target with twin golden knives, but she can find lost things. I would love that gift because I am constantly losing things. When Princess Snowfall of Bellator goes missing, Evelyn is hired by the mysterious huntsman to find her. With enough medallions to ransom a king, she knows she can't resist. When she's thrust into a power game with old and terrifying magic, Eveline can't ignore the brewing unrest or the shadows or secrets fighting to break free. When her dark past begins to catch up with her, Evelyn must question one thing she trusted most, herself. Confused by the desires for the huntsman, Evelyn tries to navigate her curse, her fate, and her friendship. With the bloodthirsty queen out to eat their hearts, Evelyn and her companions soon find that not all stories have a happily ever after. I think she's got 3 books out at the moment, and I got a bookmark, so I'm very excited to have this one and support someone I know and love. I got a bunch of swag and stuff, but we went to J.A. Low, and she was doing like mystery books. I do have her Rockstar Romance series in the old covers, which have just been recovered, so I decided to pick up something that of hers that wasn't Rockstar, and I've also got a few books in her Paradise series, which is like a sex club series. So think Salacious Plays Club, but it's set on a island paradise. So she also had Emotional Support Roosters, which I think was so funny, and I'm going to put this on my desk when I get home. I'm also going to grab my pass once I finish. So anyway, this is the one I went with. We've got Mafia, Forced Proximity, Enemies to Lovers, Secrets, and Kidnap. I'm going to try and do this nicely, just to see if I can save the wrapping to film real later. She said that the $10 ones were old covers, so she just wanted people to be aware in case, you know, you wanted series to match. But I was kind of like, hey, at this point they then become like exclusive because they're out of print, right? I've just ripped it, like I said I didn't want to. Okay, and this is part of her Bradford Jewels series. I think this is the second book. I was eyeing out Sapphire. I can't remember if one of them is MMF, but this is a Bratva, so the Russian mob, and it says round 2 begins with the devil. Grace thought she'd left the nightmare of the Bratva Jewels behind her. Her days spent as one of the Russian mob's most desired escorts were some of her darkest of her life, but she was safe for now, or so she thought. When Russian mobster Dmitri seeks revenge, he gets it, and Grace knows that she must call on every ounce of inner strength she has to withstand what he has in store for her. What she didn't expect was to meet someone like Maxim. Maxim is one of the Bratva's most skilled, most feared assassins, but his relationship with the Bratva is a complicated one, and when he meets Grace, everything suddenly becomes clear. I really do enjoy J.A. Low's writing. I'm interested to start another series of hers. It's going to be very clear to anyone that when I film this reel it's been opened. But and then actually my last book that I bought, which was one I was going to pre-order, and then at the lunch break I was walking around and Sarah was talking and I was like, you know what, this looks beautiful. And this is Control My Night by Sarah Richelm, and she said it's an urban fantasy meets like a mafia, and I was like sold immediately. So it's got a steamy slow burn forbidden love, found family, we've got ex-military men being grumpy, ball gowns and car chases, I Can't Stay Away From You, Mr. Darcy style hand grazers, women supporting women and female rage, morally grey characters you'll fall in love with, and Toto's Africa makes an appearance. And she says, trust me on this one. And I'm like, okay, girl, I'll trust you. So this is also the beautiful special edition. And I think we should normalize doing special editions of paperbacks more, because that foiling and these edges, beautiful. So it says the strongest cage is made of lies. Heiress Kenna Backhurst is business smart and street naive, and is discovering that she is an untrained banshee with a unique and deadly wail was it in her plan. After an accident leaves Kenna with blood on her hands, she's snatched from the streets by a mafia boss, determining to weaponize the beast lurking within her. If Prague is a chessboard, Arwood Sayer rules one side, and he needs Kenna, his new pawn, to find his missing daughter. Forced into service along with Arwood's henchmen, Kenna realizes that mastering her inner beast is the only way to outwit the man who is always 2 steps ahead of her. Her only ally is another prisoner, a mage called Salias, and he is just as charismatic as he is secretive, and he has his own reasons for working with Arwood. As their forbidden relationship develops and Kenna sinks further into the world, she is desperately trying to escape, but soon discovers earning her freedom may cost not only her heart, but just about everything she's ever known to be true. So that sounds fantastic. I don't think I've read a book with a banshee, and this fan artist I'm obsessed with. I follow them, and don't mind me, Lucy's messaging. And I love the quote she said that says take up space, because sometimes we need to. I've had my eye on this since it's come out. It looks like this is going to be a interconnected standalone series. Yeah, she was like, it's got like supernatural meets the mafia, and I was like, I am so here for that. We also got a little card with some artwork and some QR codes on the back to leave a review, and then it says in my bloody love interest era, and then the other side says in my morally grey era. So yeah, very, very excited. So that was all the books. So I'm pretty proud of myself. I did buy one non-bookish item because they had vendors and everything. Actually a few non-bookish items, but first things first, I wanted to show off. We have the VIP pass. I did like that. Obviously the badges had this here, but all the different ticket holders had a different color lanyard. Really easy to spot who was an author or a vendor or an assistant, because they had purple, this was VIP, and general admission was just black. So that was cool. There was a weird thing with the ticketing, which I'll get into later, but being a VIP and just having a VIP ticket didn't give you access to the ball after hours thing. There was like 4 ticket options, wild to me. So then we had the pink wristband meant that I was an attendee for the ball, which I guess I kind of like the idea. Like, we did leave the hotel with this and then we were told we don't need it, so it was, I guess, a good way to be able to still show that you've registered and are able to attend the ball without having a lanyard take up your outfit, I guess. And then like at most of these events there was trades and stuff, so I got this very neon green bracelet that says Dark Delight. Someone very beautifully was also handing out these paper flowers that she's made. I'm gonna have to like try and very gently put them in my suitcase. What else did I get with the VIP bag? Not Nurofen. And then as we were leaving the first portion of the day and we were getting really tired, someone gave me some Whiz Fizz, which I thought was genius. So I did get to see Miss E.P. Barley, because in the VIP tote bag we got Her Vicious Beasts. So I have read and loved this. I don't think she personalized it, so I might sell this one or keep it. But I got her to sign this, and then while there, I bought some swaggy goodie stuff because I didn't really want to buy another book. I was running low on funds and space, so I went a different option. I got a Nimpin from the Romance Cartel in their particular box. I love him. His name's Samuel, and he is so adorable. But EP Barley also started selling Nimpins, so I got this guy. It gives more true to what's in the story because EP Barley put them together, but don't have a name for him yet. And I went with green because obviously green's my favorite color. She also said that for this event she'd had for the first time, and I mean, all the authors are just so wonderful, really approachable, even though I know that a lot of authors say that they're introverted, so it takes a lot out of them doing these events, but everyone was just an absolute sweetheart. But EP Barley was saying that this was the first event she'd had the perfumes, so I had to buy one. So she had a perfume for each of the characters. This is by Aura and Velchemy. I've seen them around. I think they do a fragrance for the first chapter books, but so we've got a perfume for Lyle, Savage, Scythe, Ghoul, Xander, and Aurelia. And she was saying that the actual creator of this perfume company is such a big fan of her Feral Beast series that the girl came to her with a business proposal and she'd already provided the scents for each of the ones. I smelled 4 of the 6, and then Scythe is my favorite. I guess he feels like the leader of the group. He is the shark shifter, mafia, grumpy leader daddy, and I love him. So this is a roll-on perfume, and it gives like man with a hint of sea. I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but it is, maybe not even man. It's quite refreshing. Oh, sorry, it's Aura and Alchemy, and I'll leave them linked below because I think this is so genius. And this is just perfect to keep in my bag if I need a little spritzy spritz. So this scent for Scythe is coconut oil, seaweed, absolute essential oil, sea salt, vanilla, whiskey, perfume oils. So yeah, it's got that coconut oil and seaweed essential oil base. It's got that vanilla. There's a bit of a smokiness from the whiskey, and you've got that seaweed, sea salt, you've got that ocean vibe. So I really do love it. I might have to get Lyle's one next at Rare because his has caramel. But if any of them have coffee, it's all over, and I'm buying that one. What else have we got? Oh, we've got some Swoon Sips chai tea. Actually, this fits perfectly into my next thing. So these is a really cool company where they make tea and they've got coffee and they've got hot chocolate and that. They do have standard tropes for brews, but they've also done some licensed one, and I just had to buy some coffee because I said to myself, you can't buy any more books. And then I was like, ooh, look at this. This isn't books. I did buy a gift for my mom because she loves green tea. So I bought her the S.J. Tilley Alliance, what is it called? Collaboration, licensed DOM. And the owner said that this was her favorite book in the series, and then I spoke to Lucy, and Lucy said her first one was the favorite book in the series, but this series starts with Nero, and it's been definitely high on my TBR. And it's green tea, green sencha tea, and I know this is the same tea that I buy mum from T2, so I thought this could be fun. We've got 20 tea bags, and that's the packaging. I haven't actually seen, I'm sure it just looks like tea, but I don't even know how to get into this. Oh, just on the side. So yeah, and there's the tea bags. And then of course I had to get something for myself. So we got some bookmarks. There was some more people trading stickers. I've got stickers coming out the wazoo. And I decided to get myself a coffee from the Wanda Aglier series. He is a cover model particular for all your age gap daddy romances, and he is so sweet, and he is also a photographer, so a lot of his work gets used on covers as well. So I bought his Daddy's Roast coffee collection because I thought that was appropriate. So it says it's use a French press or a plunger, which I've got. Let it sit for 3 to 5 minutes for an espresso, double the dose. Perfectly balanced with layers of fruit, dark fruit, chocolate, and nut. Contains caffeine. Beans from Guatemala, Brazil, PNG, and Ethiopia and Tanzania. And this is I can't smell the coffee because it's in this little package, but so cute. And I had an Earl Grey. I think that one said Good Girl. and there was marshmallows, and then there was a hot chocolate. So very, very cool. Okay, what else have we got in the bag? Got Panther and Pearl have done like a little hotel keychain for Dark Delights, which I really like, which actually reminds me that I did buy stuff from them like I always do because I really like their stuff. I always get stickers from them. So I got this one that says support your local book dealer, which I thought was hilarious. And this one says, should I read my next mystery book tonight? And it says yes. And then I got Forced Proximity. And then they've been doing these like acrylic bookmarks for each of the events I've been to this year. So I've got my Dark Delight one. Just more miscellaneous stickers that I've picked up from different tables. Cassandra B Anderucci, who is wonderful, I do need to read more her stuff, has given like a bottle opener. Love that. First chapter books. Got a bookmark with instructions on how to make the best cup of tea from Swoon Lips. Another girl was starting a business, so we got a QR code business for that. Melinda Terranova was a dark romance writer, and I really like the looks of her Savage Kings of St. Ivy series, so I grabbed this because it's got the QR code on it. A romantic rendezvous is happening in Christchurch next year. The Bookish Spice is also going to that one, and the Bookish Spice put this one on, so they have, ooh. I just noticed one of the people in the back here is Fabled, and obviously they're not going to be going because they don't exist anymore. So I'm not sure if I'll go to that one. They gave us a Sharpie, which was really cool. I need to bring Post-it notes with me so that when I get my badge, I can use the Sharpie to write my name on the badge so the authors have it ready. I got some chilies, pop socket, got some really nice annotation tabs, and then Dark Delights bookmark by Gemma Bot. So yeah, I think I did a relatively good job. I think I'm going to be able to fit everything in my bags. I'm flying back with Qantas, which means I know for a fact they're not going to fucking weigh my carry-on luggage. Looking at you, Jetstar. So I'll try and get the bulk of it in the suitcase. I'm going to go and finish packing up my bags. Lucy will be here around 10, so I've still got about an hour-ish to get that sorted, and then I'm gonna figure out how to turn the fucking aircon on because it is stifling in here. I will give you my full wrap-up thoughts about this event when I get home, but overall I think it was really well done for a first-time event. So yeah, I will speak to you when I'm home, safe and sound in Melbourne. I will speak to you soon. See ya! I promptly came home and I slept on the plane. Thank God for that, because I was feeling pretty rough when I woke up yesterday, and then just was feeling a little bit blah. In classic Melbourne style, I did leave the beautifully sunny and humidly hot Brisbane at a lovely 26 degrees. Well, probably a little bit warmer than I wanted it to be. To a beautiful 16 and rain in Melbourne, so you never disappoint. I'm feeling a bit snuffly today, probably because of the rapid change in weather, but I'm here to give you my overall thoughts of the event. So this was the first time that the Bookish Spice had run Dark Delights, and overall for a new event I think it went pretty well. Everyone I spoke to seemed to have had a good time, and it was held at the International Convention Centre in Brisbane, which is quite a big venue. I think my only, thing would have been, I'm not sure what the numbers were. It was really hard to gauge how many people were coming through, just because I think I mentioned there was 4 different tickets options. There was a ticket just for the after hours like drinks event. There was a general admission ticket which got you into the signing from 10 till 4. There was a VIP ticket which got you access to the signing from 9 till 4, and then there was a VIP ticket which had the night included. And I had the VIP ticket with the nighttime event included, so that was quite a long day. I will say the vibes of everyone as we were leaving was kind of like, I'm gonna go eat something, maybe have a nap, and I'll see you at 6 once we left at 4. And there was a few people who were kind of like, if I sit down, I don't think I'm getting back up. So they kind of wandered around. So I think because the nighttime draw was such a big thing, it felt like the guests were kind of coming in and out when and if it suited them. So for, I guess, an author's perspective, it was, and I stayed a lot of the time at Lucy's desk, filling in and jumping in to help as her assistant. It didn't feel really overwhelming because the VIP guests who maybe weren't interested in the nighttime event got there early, probably left around the lunchtime, started at 12 and then headed off. I mean, some of those people then did just go get lunch and then come back for the nighttime event. And then other people might have decided to come in later so that there was already going to be a 2-hour gap between the end of the event and the ball. It wasn't called a ball, but the drinks. So they might have decided not to rock up till 12. There was plenty of space. I didn't do a very good job as a guest going in and checking what was happening. I think a few authors pulled out because of illness, which always happens at these events. That's something you can't control. And I hadn't really seen, apart from when they first announced the authors, I hadn't really seen much on social media in terms of the upcoming event. Someone would mention it every now and then and I'd be like, oh, that's right, I've got that coming up. So again, I'm not sure how prominently they were advertising it, but it definitely wasn't constantly in my face. It took me a while to get my head around the seating. There was a few rows which kind of ended at a wall, so you kind of had to shuffle your way down and around while people were stopping and milling at tables. But overall, there wasn't a huge congestion issue. People were going back to the hotel, which is right across the road, to dump books. I did that at one stage. There was a couple of kink demonstrations by a professional dominatrix named, I want to say it was Mistress Anastasia, but I could very much be wrong. That was really great. It was right at the door of the convention, which totally fine. They have their space to do what they wanted, but I wondered if that would have been just better for, I guess, the comfort of people. The doors were open so people could come in and out. I don't think there was another event during the day, but just in case there was, you know, some people might not want to be openly seen going to a kink demonstration, so you could have put that towards the back of the room. I think it was a cool idea, given that it was like a romance convention, that they had this, and even the mistress kind of started her session with saying, like, you've all read about this and part of my job is I like to educate people so that you do it safely, the things you've read in your book. So I thought that was a really cool touch. There was definitely a lot of time where if the authors, they got to go around and talk to each other. I was talking about this with Lucy, and you know, it's something we don't think about. Like, as a reader, reviewer, I like to go to these events so I can see people that, you know, I talk to every other day, but actually a lot of the work we do is behind a screen. So I think Lucy in particular was saying, like, favorite part of events is obviously meeting readers, but another huge part is getting to see your colleagues who are your fellow authors. So that was cool. I'm not sure how the authors themselves fared with the event. I hope they all had a good time. It was quite a big venue, and being a convention center, I imagine it's quite expensive just due to the nature of the location, like right in the heart of Brisbane City and all that jazz, which I imagine would obviously mean that the table prices the authors had to pay was a bit high. So I'm hoping they made their table prices back. And like, sitting at Lucy's desk, she has just released a paranormal romance, which is fantastic. It's dark and lush. Love it. But she also has like a rom-com series. I got the vibe. No one said anything to me. I overheard one comment from a guest, which is totally valid, just kind of looking at the rom-com books, kind of being like, oh, I thought this was supposed to be Dark Delights. I think from memory they had booked Lee Rivers, who's quite a very popular dark romance author who I met at Babe. She's wonderful, but she pulled out for whatever reasons that, you know, that happens. But I think there is something to be said about reader and attendees' expectation if you're going to call it Dark Delights. If all your imagery around it is masked men, they did have mask models floating around, and I will happily report that everyone was acting they were very excited. The girls were very excited, but they were very respectful when it came to approaching them. There was lots of photo opportunities. And they also actually, I will point out, event actually had the models going around in pairs, but they also assigned them a volunteer. So I guess just to keep track of them and what happened at Citizen Stardust. Not that I ever thought that would happen here, but one could never be too sure, and you've got to make sure everyone feels safe and protected. So I thought that was brilliant that they had someone with them, like a volunteer, and that person also doubled as helping attendees get photos as well. So I just thought that was excellently done. Most of the event I thought was excellently done. So the ticket I got, which included the all-day ticket event from 9 till 4, the 10 till 6 night event, which did include free beer and wine and soft drink, which was quite good. And there was food as well, which, you know, was very nice. I also got a lanyard and an attendee card. That was $350 for that experience. We're just looking at the other events that I've bought this year. My ticket for Babe, I will say for this event as well, I did get my ticket through Lucy. She organized my ticket for me, which was wonderful, so I didn't actually pay anything for the ticket. And with Babe, I did get bumped up to okay, so it was the same price as Babe, who their like Moulin Rouge packet, which included the VIP night and the all-day signing, was $3.50, so that's something. I think there was just some confusion around having the extra ticket for the drinks night. I heard through the grapevine that a few VIPs had thought that their ticket included it, and I know that Lucy was saying that the attendance ticket didn't include the VIP night, so there was just some confusions there. But I guess I didn't pay for a drink. I only had like 3 drinks, but I didn't pay for a single drink, and there was food as well, so maybe if you were to do it next time. There was a big uptake for the VIP night. I was worried because there seemed to be such almost even flux of people coming in and out throughout the day that maybe people had headed off early and weren't going to attend the VIP night, but it was popping off, and it was a really fun time. So I mean, overall I think it was a success. I think maybe there was some readers' expectations with some of the authors who had their dark mafia, darker romances, whether that's paranormal, monster, but then were also selling their other books. You know, not every author writes in the one subgenre. They write whatever they like and they feel comfortable with. So I think for some people there might have been a bit of a, oh, that's odd, like I thought this was supposed to be purely dark romance, and that could again just be the expectations of the way the event was marketed, the title of it, and it's gonna happen, but be unrealistic or unfair for the authors paid the table. They can put, you know, what they want on there, and you'd want to have a widest range of books possible, but this is purely speculation and opinion at my end. But overall I did have a really fantastic time. It was ambitious, and it was a great success to see it at a convention center. My first thoughts on the lead up to the event was like, oh, if it's a first event, maybe you could have picked a slightly smaller event. Overhead costs might have been cheaper, and you know, things like that, but it seemed to have gone off without a hitch. The room had enough space for people to walk around. There was some congestion points, but you kind of get that at any kind of, I'm just thinking like any artist alley at any convention. So yeah, overall I had a great time. I don't think I mentioned this, but it was just wonderful to see Lucy and Mel and Abby, who are bookstagrammers, and you know, get to meet Sienna Gypsy, CB Frey, and Jade May, but in particular just getting to see Lucy again and getting insights into her creative practice. And she even took me, Mel, and Abby on a little road trip to Mount Luther. Yeah, great to get that visual, and we got to see like the Brisbane skyline and everything like that. So there we go. That is my rambling thoughts and feelings of Dark Delights. It's nice that we're getting more events in Australia, and so far every one I've been to has been a success. So comment down below and let me know if you went to Dark Delights, or if not, have you got any events coming up? I'd love to know. I'm going to Rare and Sweet Love in Melbourne in October, so hopefully I can see you there. Linked in the description box below will be these books, people that I've mentioned, and links to my social media channels if you'd like to talk to me or follow me on any other corner of the internet. Anyway, that's all from me today, guys. I hope you're doing all kinds of well, and I'll speak to you soon. See ya!